Welcome back to part 2 of the preseason test, where Corey Lopez will start from pole after a random lottery. Landers Aholi starts second from Chindika and Ortega. Jackson G starts 5th from Antonelli and Walker. Then comes Radon Ninjimura, Goma Paris, and Wisdom Chijoka, your top 10. Lam Fox starts 11th from Grace Hunter and Kazuki Sims. Then comes Maxer Goat, Obor Shirakumai, Romeo Matthew, Nadia Sass Jr., Tanner Bentley, and teammate Dotsu. Gabriel Sasaki starts 20th from Dominic Vancelau and Visor Alves. Then comes the back row of Tommy Yu and Arnold Yu. The Hankook inters go on as the rain comes down. The 5 red lights are up and on as all 5 lights have gone on, and we are underway here in the preseason test. It's a good getaway there from Chindika from P3. Look at Zaholi trying to get a run on Akari Lopez heading down into turn number 1, and you can see the lower power trains really coming into force as they come through the opening chicane. Zaholi going side by side, coming through turn number 3, trying to get some better traction in that track house number 97. And you want to know something? He's got that position made. Here comes Ortega as well to take second place away from the pole sitter. And Akari Lopez fighting with all he's got, and all he's got might just be enough to take the lead away from the Albanian in that number 97 car. They go side by side up the hill, and with the inside line, can the Trackhouse man hold on? He just about does, with a 10th of a second being all that's in it, side by side as they head down into turn number 10. Here comes Akari again, and he will take the lead, staying side by side, and just now trying to edge in front. He cannot. Zaholi gets in front again. Landro Zaholi taking the lead here in Spain. Well, that is a long lap 1 battle in these wet conditions as we go on to lap 2 of 16. Ortega looking for a pass at home as well. Currently sat in second. Will he make a dive down the inside? He will, to hold on to that second place. And now Zaholi, without anyone to fight with, is going to try and pull away from the rest of the pack. Fastest first sector of anyone as Akari Lopez drops down outside of the top 3. Wisdom Chindika. Let's take a look at the Tricon man who was fastest in the test. Wisdom Chijoka, sorry. Currently 9th in this race. Dion Chindika going side by side with Akari Lopez coming through turn number 9. We right on board with him, and he will take that 3rd place for Truly Grand Prix. We right on board with the Mugen Motorsport number 5, getting close to that inside, stays side by side. In fact, all this battling is allowing Ortega and Zaholi just to get away from the rest of the pack. And without push to pass, it is way harder to try and come back from any sort of deficit. On to lap 3 of 16 we go, as Chindika has taken 3rd now. Here comes Brock Walker in the other Sarah Fisher Hartman racing car. They're going 5 wide behind. Look at that. Here comes Lopez again, just to try and hold on. He cannot. And that Mugen car is going backwards faster than it's going forwards. Surely that's going to be something that team is going to have to look at before they touch down in China for the start of next season. Reminder, next up on SBM 1 will be the preseason test for the IndyCar Series. Then after that, of course, the Formula E Series is preseason test. The first race in the ERL that you will see will come from the FG Series. As you can see, Antonelli looking for the pass, going down the inside on Brock Walker. It's Italy versus New Zealand. I've heard rumors of him trying to run an all-black car for the final round of the season, and, well, I guess we'll see if that does happen for the two. But with 12 to go, things look good for Trackhouse Racing, something you can't say for the NASCAR team, as Landro Zaholi at the head of the pack, 2.1 seconds up on Danny Ortega and Dion Chindika. Radon Ninjimura there, trying to go alongside and in front of Jelly Antonelli. And still, the battles in the mid-pack are not done. We've got yellows. Is that for Jelly Antonelli? I think it might be. As we ride on board with Vivlos Sasaki down in 19th place. There might be a little pop-up at the top of the screen that will tell you what happened to cause the yellow, but currently I think that might have been Jelly Antonelli, because he is not looking too good in terms of proximity to Radar Ninjimura, as he's going to try and go once again for the pass on Brock Walker, but he can't make it stick. That's Jackson G's in the Junior Motorsports number 88, heading down the hill and through the final corner then. In that Budweiser sponsored car, please drink responsibly. And now with 11 laps to go, it is still Zaholi at the head of the pack. And there is actually quite a gap now between Matthias Haas Jr. and Ouroboros Shirakumo. Kari Lopez going off the road just to try and pull away from the rest of the pack. As Radar Ninjimura now trying to back up the rest of the field then as they come through turn number 4. Guillermo Perez currently running in 7th, getting past Jelly Antonelli, Wisdom Chijoke, sorry. Now going side by side with Max Ago. This man was fastest when they were just running laps. Wasn't very lucky in terms of his qualifying position for this mock race, and now in these wet conditions where tyre strategy is not really a thing, looking to just not touch the rear of his teammate, just stays right behind his fellow Tricon driver with 10 laps to go. It's got to be frustrating, so he's going to go for the move then, coming through the final corner. He saw the opportunity, takes 8th place, and if he can, he might go for P7. Coming down into turn number 1, he's got a good run, doesn't have the slipstream though. I think Perez could lose out to both of the Tricons as they come through 1. Just manages to hold on to 7th place. Chindika on the outside there. Antonelli on the inside. Here's Chijoke, sorry, in that 7. And he loses out. Antonelli with the inside as we've got a yellow. Gets cleared up quite quickly. I think it was Romeo Matthew. What's that? Quite possibly could have been. Because we saw that pop-up come up for that number 8 car, I believe. In any case, here's Kazuki Sims on the back. And I don't think you'll find a pass too easily with the field so bunched up in that part of the field. With, is that 8 laps to go? Sorry, it's 9 to go. Can't count. Andre Zaholi leading since lap 2. Antonelli trying to take 7th. They're going to go side by side to the line there. Separated by mere hundredths of a second. Here's Chijoke also trying to get in on that. And oh, there's contact and the safety car comes out. Perez into the wall. Antonelli is out of this race. Wow. They were going 3 wide down into turn 1. It could have worked, but Perez veered off. And they collide. Antonelli, as it was, and they were just doing times, will not see the full extent of this test. And that is well and truly unfortunate. You can see the damage to that front wing there. Surely Hispania Palomino will pull in that number 14 car. For Wisdom Chijoke, though, that might work out quite well for him. Ortega comes into the pits. Chindika also down into pit lane. We've got a lot of cars heading down into the pits, but Landra Zaholi stayed out there on those it's fresh intermediates going on for Danny Ortega. Now, this could just be the teams fearing over the possibility of high wear around this track as we are now halfway through this race, or just trying to make the most of this safety car period, because with Zaholi staying out on warm inters, yes, they're up to temperature, but without him coming in, he probably missed pit lane when the pace car came out. He now runs into the problem of the rest of the field now bunching up right behind him with fresher tires, and he's got the worst of everyone else. So now he's going to have to wonder what is the best move. Does he come in while everyone else is bunched up right behind him and lose tons of track position? Or does he stay out, hold on to that track position, and then he's going to have to defend for all that he is worth? There's no points on offer for this race, but it is a perfect opportunity to practice this strategy. That right there is the one car. He's already caught up. Dion Chandika also closing up. Lopez, Romeo Matthew, Brock Walker, and Orboro also closing in already. And this is why we are trialing the safety car today. It's all about whether or not the length... I'm going to have to phrase this well. It's all about whether or not the length of the safety car period in these very short races will matter. So Holy staying out for lap 9 there. And this actually does help Perez somewhat. He did get that front wing switched out. In comes Viter Alves as he's already in the pack. Fresh Inters once again. I was honestly thinking that Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing were anticipating the race would go dry, but even so, it's only really when the rain stops completely and the sun comes out that you can then think about going onto the dry tires, because if it's raining lightly and the track is still wet, going onto the dry compound tires is quite possibly the worst thing you can do for your race, because you just slap into the middle of your strategy 2 more stops, which is obviously 40 seconds, which you lose. I think you will need to be watching very closely this top 5 actually, because that battle with the 2 Tricons and Guillermo Perez was very enthralling, but it could just happen to anyone throughout the pack if they've got cars right behind them. I think you might have seen there problems in terms of the tires potentially being too worn and maybe even overheating that for Landro Zaholi. Could see something similar for Romeo Matthew, for Orboro Shirakumo, for Matthias Haas Jr., for Sasaki, for Bentley, for Lam Fong, for Tommy Yu as well. All of these drivers who opted for track position instead of coming down into pit lane. And with 7 laps to go, we've been behind the pace car for 2 laps and it's coming in. That was not very long. I think this might be what the ERL needs to see. And they're coming into the pits with the pace car. Zaholi, Ortega, is that the entire field heading down into pit lane? No, it isn't. This race will be led by Lam Fong, who will take us to green from 11th place as the entirety of the top 10 came down into the pits on lap 10 of 16. Across the line for Lam Fong. Safety car still says it's ending. I think, yes, we are now back to green flag racing. And it looks like it is drying up. That might have been the best strategy move from Trackhouse Racing. Now, Zaholi gets out on the road on the yellow walled medium compound handcuffs. Down into turn 1. The track is still somewhat wet. I think the Inters might be the better move, but the top 8 are all out there on intermediate tires. The top 3 on the same Inters that they started this race with. So that's Wisdom Chijoke there in the 7th for Tricon Garage, getting past Tommy Yu, the best Inters of the entire field. But does that matter for Lam Fong is my question. There's 16 seconds between Viter Alves and Landro Zaholi. 17 seconds now. The track is now dry in Sector 3. So that entire gaggle of cars from 9th down to 23rd is just trying to get to that sector as quickly as possible. In come the top 8 from those intermediate tires. I think they played it well. I think that was the right play. Wait an extra lap, get the track position, and then go on to the softs or mediums, whatever tires you want, when it is indeed dry. I think Lam Fong is going to be leading this race. Zaholi is only now coming down into the final corner. The overload number 15 will resume in the lead from Sasaki and Chindika. Can you believe that? Landro Zaholi is only 5th. He had dominated the wet portion of this race ever since getting past Akari Lopez. And now he's got to try and find 5 seconds worth of pace in these next 5 laps if he wants to win. There's still a wet portion of this track, as you can see spray coming off of the back of that Trackhouse car. Lam Fong, though, the Overlord Grand Prix, might have just played one of the greatest moves of strategy I have seen in quite some time. Would have been better if he went on to the softs, although we don't think the softs can do too many laps. That is spectacular from that crew. And Ortega's gotten past the Holy. Blanchard Holy drops down to 6th. The man with the fastest lap is not in the top 5. Dion Chindika drops down to 10th on the hard compound tires, tries to get past Akari Lopez. And while the Mugen man hasn't had a great day with 4 laps to go in this race, he's going to try and hold it around the outside. Can it work out? As that's Max and Goat trying to make it 3 wide, heading down into turn number 1. Will this work out well? Look at Alves and Walker. It's a 5-way fight for 9th as they come through the opening chicane and Lopez bolts away. Max and Goat will take 10th place. This is absolutely unbelievable. This could be one of the greatest moments in the FG series, and it's not even a points-paying race. Lam Fong has already won a race in this category of the ERL, and it was known as the Ace Championship in its first season. Zaholi still dueling away there with Ortega. Looks to the outside. Is that? No, that's the inside. It becomes the outside for the next corner. But he just can't hold on. Those mediums don't have the grip in them anymore. They're a lap older than the rest of the field. And that is the problem as we head on to lap 13. Wisdom Chijoke with the fastest lap of 1:04.275. And that's in the pack as he now moves up into 2nd place. 1.2 seconds. That's the gap he's going to have to chase down. But there is still a possibility of another pit stop taking place in this race. This could be the absolute shot in the arm that the ERL has needed after months of no racing. The last ERL race was in mid-July, the World 500, just to remind you. And this series has just stayed dormant, biding its time until everything was ready. And now, as Sasaki gets past Chijoke, might just have to refer to him by his first name. What wisdom does this man have if he's to win this race? Can Sasaki romp away to the lead while Lam Fong comes in? Sasaki's in, Chijoke's in, and Sims is in as well. So that's the entirety of the top 6 going down to the pits. They don't have the tires to make it to the end. Max Goat stays out for Nunez Race Tech. Are the hards the optimal tire for this post-wet section of the race? Well, they very well could be. It's just going to come down to whether or not they can take 2 more laps of punishment. Max Goat with a 3rd and final track limits infringement. Vida Alves currently runs in 2nd, with Lam Fong coming out in 3rd. Chijoke comes out in 4th. Landre Zaholi getting past Danny Ortega with the slipstream. Looks to make away past Tommy Yu, but gets a 5-second time penalty for contact with the Hong Kong driver in the number 77 Goodhart car. As now Akari Lopez getting a track limits warning in 11th place. God, I have missed this league. Vida Alf somehow has managed 3 laps on those mediums. Look at the state of those handcuffs though. Sure, he's going to have to dive down into the pits again. Matthias Haas Jr. with a track limits warning. Does Max Goat come in? He stays out for the penultimate lap. Vida Alves dives down into the pits. That's 10 seconds between the Englishman and the Vietnamese driver of Lam Fong. I think Nunez Race Tech might have played the strategy to perfection, as we are now on the penultimate lap of this race. 10 seconds the margin. Honestly, a fantastic job from Nunez Race Tech, currently running 1st and 4th. We've got a rookie leading this race, a rookie in P3, technically a rookie running in 4th. We've got so many rookies through the field as Lopez getting a time penalty for disobeying track limits. Lam Fong is closing in at a rate of knots though. He's just closed 4 seconds on Max Goat, so it's not over yet for Overworld GP. Might be over for Tricon Garage being 2 seconds off the back of the Vietnamese driver in front. But for Max Goat, all he's got to do now is bring the car home in one piece, heading down the hill into the pits. Box is the call from Nunez Race Tech. Lam Fong will lead us to the current lap. 1 to go in the Barcelona test. In the lead of this race, Max Goat's Hards just couldn't hold up. 1.6 seconds is the margin. Out in front, Chijoke with a third and final track limits, a warning and a 5-second time penalty coming for Kazuki Sims. Sasaki all over the back of that Tricon car. Currently 3/10 off the back, in fact, a second separating your leaders. But will that be enough for Wisdom Chijoke to take the win in this test? Well, Sasaki thinks it isn't and pounces with the rear wing wide open. It's second place for the Japanese driver. Now, can he take the momentum all the way to Lam Fong, who's coming through the final corners now for Overworld Grand Prix, making a first start in the ERL in China. This will be good momentum for that squad. Lam Fong will win the preseason test race here in Barcelona, but across the line for Vivla Sasaki, who just about takes second place by only 1/1000th of a second. Unbelievable work from both Nunez Race Tech and from Tricon Garage. The top 3 in today's race, the top 3 teams in today's race, have never raced in the ERL before. If that doesn't shout parody, I don't know what will. And here is your podium. Unbelievable work there from Overworld Grand Prix to put Lam Fong from Vietnam on the top step of the podium alongside him. Vivla Sasaki and Wisdom Chijoke, who just lost out by 1/1000th of a second to the Japanese driver. As for the rest of your finishes from today's race, you've got Sims from Tommy Yu and Daniel Ortega. Then came Grace Hunter, Viter Alves, Alondre Zaholi, and Max Goat. Brock Walker was 11th from Akari Lopez and Radon Nichimura. Then came Dion Chindika, Romeo Matthew, Oboro Shirakumo, Jackson G's, Dominic Vancelau, Tanner Bentley, Matthias Haas Jr., Arnold Yu Dong-Soo, and Guillermo Perez, with Jelly Antonelli being the only non-finisher after contact with Guillermo Perez. Thank you so much for watching here on SBM2. Next up on the Sparkplug Motorsport family of YouTube channels will be the IndyCar Series preseason test in Phoenix, Arizona. So make sure that you're subscribed to both channels for that. In the description of this video, you will see a link that will take you to the official store for Sparkplug Motorsport, the Sparkplug Motorsport store, if you will. And it will help support me personally, because I'm the only guy who works behind the scenes on this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time then when the Electric Racing League